Well, hey, hi, hello there. How are you doing? Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this little impromptu live, or if you're watching on the replay crew, you rock. Let me change it over to live chat right away in case anybody drops by. I don't miss any messages. Hello, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day. I came on because I have a package to open. I'm very excited. So I got a package from DeDe Signature. Love it, love it, love it. I know everybody calls it DeDe Signature, but I'm going to take Angelica's word for it because Angelica Nyqvist from Sweden met her at a Creators and Friends event and said that she introduced herself as DeDe rather than DeDe. So I'm going to take her word for it. I'm going to call her DeDe, and so I am hoping that that's correct. Anyway, I have mentioned that I actually did more Black Friday shopping than I thought that I did. Sometimes I just go into a fugue state and I just make purchases and forget about them until they arrive. And during the Black Friday weekend, the only one that I really remembered was DeDe Signature, and that's because each year I try to buy from some sort of Black-owned makeup brand, minority-owned makeup brand, queer-owned makeup brand. I mean, it's not hard for me to shop, right? But I always try to be intentional about making sure that during that time, I'm this year especially, I only really shopped from indie brands, small brands. We didn't do any of the big mainstream brands or whatever. Hello, Mama Champagne. But specifically the Black-owned makeup brand that I purchased from was DeDe Signature, and so I have this box. Wait till you see. I mean, postal service who? Like, it's got a fragile sticker on it, and then look, this thing is just like ripped open. There's a big old dent here. Now, I will say this is kind of the wimpiest box in the world. So DeDe Signature is not doing themselves any favors by using 20-pound paper cardboard for their boxes, but still, it had a fragile sticker and they gave no fucks about that. So hello, Ellie Mae Beauty. Hello, welcome. We are unboxing some DeDe Signature. This was my big Black Friday purchase. This was the main one that I did. I did those other little ones like Kavisi Beauty. It was a small brand and it was just such a good deal where all things were so cheap. So this was the big one. Let's see if I can figure out. I mean, the box is half open already, and I'm still I could just rip the side of this. I don't know why I'm acting like it's so difficult. There we go. I was going to try to open it the right way, and then I was like, clearly, the world has already opened part of it. So in here, I should have 4 palettes, and I should have a lip gloss. The lip gloss was kind of an oddball one, and I just did it because it was less than $5 with the discount. With the sale that they were having, it was $4.80, and it's supposed to be scented or flavored, and it was grape, and I don't find a lot of stuff that's grape, and I like grapes, but I really like grape candy, so stuff that's flavored grape, because we all know that fruit flavored candies generally don't taste like the fruits, but they're still they're reminiscent of it, they live in the same zip code, but they don't taste like the fruit. And so I like the taste of grape flavored candy more than I like actual grapes, although I do still like actual grapes. Although I do prefer green grapes. Mama Champagne, last time she was here, she bought red grapes, and I finished them because she left them at my house, and they were okay. But I do prefer green grapes because I'm just particular like that. So this is the Mommy and Danny DeDe Signature. See, I went back to a DeDe Signature lip gloss, a little box. And this is in grape. And of course, I'm going to struggle to get this open. But yeah, it had little grapes in it, or little berries or something. Yeah, little grapes. For a second, I was like, are those strawberries? No, they're little grapes. Noted for future reference. Yes. Please bring the correct grapes when you come to visit. It does have a little bit. It's not very strong, but it feels nice. I mean, it feels nice for $4.80 for sure, but it is just a nice gloss. It's very slippy, but not sticky. So yeah, I don't feel like it sticks together, but it's very slippy. I like that. Yeah, and it's got a nice little grape smell. Not super strong, but pleasant. So there we go. So now let's get into the palette. So I was very excited because they had a new palette that launched, the Festival Elegance, I think it's called. And then they had some of their other palettes that were on sale, and they had some bundles and things. And so they had the From the Roots palette. I did a look not too long ago with the Fearless holiday. It was another one of their holiday releases from a year or two ago. And I think that was the black and green look that I did, not the one with the pop of blue in the inner corner. That was something else that I did recently in a live, I think. Oh, no, that's the one that I filmed that I'm trying to edit. That's a nightmare. So that one's Danessa Myricks, but I did one that was green and brown. The podcast look, I think, where I had the Final Girl necklace and I had the brown hair that's got the green and purple and blue, like big, like bumped ponytail and the big swoop bang. And anyway, it doesn't matter. But I did that look for a podcast and I really liked it. And I was like, you know what, let's order some more. I've got a couple things from DeDe Signature, but I don't have a ton. And they had a couple palettes that are called their Chromebooks that look like they are most or all shimmer shades. And they have a volume 1 and a volume 2, and they had a bundle of the two of them that was already on sale. And then for Black Friday, the sale price was on sale. Hello, Dion. How's it going? Welcome. We're doing a little impromptu live to unbox some DeDe Signature. And so we looked at a grape lip gloss that I put on, which is my lips are shiny. And catch the replay about that. Yes, catch the replay Kerr rocks. But thank you for popping in to let us know where you're at and how you're doing. So we have the Chromebook Volume 1 and the Chromebook Volume 2. So these are very, very shiny, very shiny. Let's open up the Chromebook Volume 1. I don't remember what these look like. I just saw beautiful shimmers and went into a fugue state and was like, I have to have it. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so this is Chromebook Volume 1. Beautiful. These remind me of, I don't know if the performance will be the same, but they remind me of Gloss Gods, because Gloss Gods has a few of those 15 pan palettes that are all shimmer and are really, really beautiful. And so this kind of reminds me of that. I love it. Throw a little cover away. And then we have the Chromebook Volume 2. This one's in a little box. So let me get that out. And so this one is a little bit smaller. Ooh, and this one looks like it has some mats. So there we go. Obviously, these are little protectors. So we'll, yes, thank you, Dion. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. So there are 3 mats at the bottom, and then we're going to just tip this out so that these all fall. And then those are the shimmers. Look at that. This also reminds me of, do you remember Gourmand Girls? Before they started doing the long skinny palettes with Haunted and Spooked, they had a couple that were, I think, 12 pans. If you took this row off, they would be this size. And I think they had one that was electric or something, but they had these all shimmer palettes. It kind of reminds me of that too. Beautiful. Very excited to play with these. These will be fun to pair with other things. I have done all shimmer looks before, but as my makeup has evolved, I like having mattes to ground it. I think that my looks, I like them better when I have some mattes to really kind of pull everything together. And so, yeah, those are the 2 Chromebooks. So let me show those off one more time. We've got those beautiful colors. And then we've got these beautiful colors. Of course, there's some beautiful greens in here, so I love that. There's a green in here too. Let me show these next to each other. If I can manage there we go. So yeah, beautiful. Those are the 2 Chromebooks from DeDe Signature. Very excited about that. Now let's look at the From the Roots palette, and then we'll open up the new palette last. So the Festive Elegance. let's go ahead and get into, there's a lot of bubble wrap, which is very good, especially considering the state of the box that we saw at the beginning. So I appreciate that they do wrap these up really nicely, because that box wasn't protected nothing. And then there's bubble wrap inside the box too, which is nice. So there's many layers of bubble wrap. I do appreciate that. A bond that protects, a love that lasts. So this is from The Roots. Beautiful. Love that cover. And then we have, I'll tip out the little protectors first before I hold it up. So these are, look at that shade right there. It's like a purple gold mix. How fun is that? I thought this was fun, and I thought that this looked like it would pair really nicely. I have the Broken Jewels. So I think from DeDe Signature, I feel like I have a Ruby Grapefruit or something that was a couple years ago, a holiday palette. And then I have the Fearless Day. And then not too long ago, I got Broken Jewels. And this one is kind of like the same size and shape. And it looks like it would complement, I guess there was still another protector in there. Is that a protector? Or is that, no, it's just a white shade. Okay. And so that is, and so it's the same size and shape as this, and the colors look very complementary. And so I think that those will be fun to use together. And now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and open up the Festive Elegance. While we are getting this open, if you need a glamorous drag queen to spend the year with, we still have a few calendars left. We are down to single digits. So once they are gone, they are gone. I ordered them a little bit earlier this year, so I'd have them in hand for the show that I did this past weekend. And so unless we had some like insane surge in demand, but I don't imagine that's going to happen. So I ordered a package before the show, and once they are gone, they are gone. So definitely check out on my post tab, or if you just go to janessaj.com, you will find a post that explains how to, it describes it as a pre-order, but now I have them in hand. And so it'll just be an order, and then I'll ship them out when I ship out all of the palettes together. You'll have them before New Year's is my goal. Obviously, I have them, so I should be able to make that goal. But I don't like to say you'll have them before New Year's, because then if the post office does some shenanigans like that, I can't help. And so you're going to see why I had to have this Festive Elegance, because look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful greens. There's fun reds. Now, this is a very like traditional Christmas kind of palette. But again, if you don't use the green and the red together, it doesn't have to look Christmassy. Like, you can get so many beautiful, there's some neutrals here. You could do an all neutral look. You could do a red look. You could do a red and gold. You could do several different types of green looks. So there's a lot of flexibility to this, but I like that because they've included greens and those two reds and the gold shades, that this does look very kind of traditional US based Christmas. So yes, almost enough for a Thunderdome. Yeah, so at some point we may have to plan a DeDe Signature. Once I get through that Odin's Eye, I took all the suggestions, and I think it's going to be a combination of what people said. I did like Dion's suggestion that I do two separate videos, where I do one video where it's all of the Odin's Eye, just the regular line palettes, and then one that's all of the Odin's Eye collabs, because I think I had, if you don't count the highlighter palette, which some people did and some people didn't, if you don't count the highlighter palette, I have 37. 11 of them are collab palettes, and 26 of them are regular line palettes. And I think even if, and I know that's kind of an uneven split, but I think I would also put together some of the palettes together as like a group and rank them together, because there are like the Norns mini palettes. If you remember, Odin's Eye did those little mini, long, skinny, they were like 5-pan palettes. They had 4 little shades, and then in the middle was a bigger shade that was usually a split pan. And they did the Elva, however you say it. I don't know if they had a series name, but it was like Elva, and it was like Ocean, Woodlands, and something else. And so like those would probably be together as a group. The Norns palettes would probably be together as a group. So I put some things together as a little group if it made sense. There was like the jewel collection when they did the jewelry and they did those 2 palettes. They're kind of different. It may be different enough that I may decide to rank them separately, but I also kind of think of them together as like one thing. So I may just rank those together. So we'll see how it all comes together. But you'll see, I will be having probably the next Thunderdome that goes up on my channel will be some version of Odin's Eye. And we'll probably do at least 2 videos because I did like that suggestion. So we'll kind of play around with that. But yeah, so this is going to be kind of a quick one. Just wanted to pop on. So let's review. Again, we have this gorgeous little yummy grape gloss. Very cool. I'm interested to see what those are made out of. Like if one pops out, because they look like little like nail decals. They look like really small versions of, I used to have a lot of erasers. When I was a kid, I had a ton of erasers. I loved erasers. I would go to Aladdin's Castle, which was the arcade, and I would play, like if I played skee ball or those ticket games, I was always getting erasers from that. I used to sell Olympic cards and stationery. I sold that like a little entrepreneur. And so they had little things they gave away. And one of the prizes that I got from selling cards was this little plastic fridge, and it came with little pieces of food, and all the food was erasers. I loved erasers. I had I had a big box of them, like a plastic, like Tupperware container kind of thing. Loved erasers. And so they look like the little erasers that I had. I'm sure I had a grape eraser that looked kind of like that. That's why I think it triggered that memory for me. But so this was less than $5. Was very excited about this. And I don't know what Mommy and Danny means. Probably DeDe's child. I don't really know, but I like it. A little bit more on. Again, not sticky at all, but very slippy. Very, very slippy. No flavor, just that little bit of, as I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Just that little bit of a scent to it. All right. I always get dry under my nose, so I like to bring a balm or yeah, so let's review the palettes. So we have the Chromebook. So let's look at those first. So we have Chromebook Volume 1. We have a Chromebook Volume 2. Brings in a few mattes there to help you make some looks. We've got the From the Roots palette. Beautiful, beautiful. And then, of course, the holiday new release for all of us green lovers out there. We have the Festive Elegance palette. Beautiful. Love that. Yeah, so that's kind of my thing, is that today, this was my big like Black Friday purchase. This is the one that was very intentionally made. Very excited tomorrow for the Haunt Me collection to come out from Blend Bunny. I just will love Blend Bunny forever, because let me tell you, so I put up a post yesterday. It's been, I don't know what it is, because I know that like brands make mistakes, especially indie brands that are run by individuals who are doing all the things. They're kind of the whole business, or sometimes they have a couple people or whatever. But it's been really hard with shopping with indie brands this year. And especially like right now. So recently I've had to reach out to so many brands because like, so Phase It. And I'm probably going to do a video on this where I'll go into more detail, but like Phase It, I placed an order for those freckles, the like stick-on freckles. They had a Wicked collection where they did a green witchy freckles and a pink witchy freckles. And then they had some lighter green ones that were called like shamrock freckles or whatever. Well, their Black Friday sale, which started way earlier in the month, it started at like, I think the beginning of November. I placed it in like the first week maybe of November. They were offering buy 3, get a free gift. And it was supposed to be like a random collection. It was supposed to be a random set of freckles, but I think it was from like 3 specific. I think it was like gold, silver, or the snowflake. And so I was supposed to get one of those 3 or whatever. Well, then it sat for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I finally, like last week, I emailed and I said, hey, can you tell me if there's an update on this order? Because I have the confirmation, but I've never gotten a shipping. And then I got back and they're like, oh, sorry about this. I see that it was stuck in processing. So we're going to send it to you. Okay. So then they sent it to me, and the original order shows pink speckles, green speckles, shamrock speckles, and then it shows free gift, and it's just like a blank picture. It's like a clip art of like a gift box or whatever, because it's like random, right? So then when I get the shipping, it's the green speckles, the pink speckles, and the shamrock speckles. No free gift listed. So then I was like, okay, that's weird. So I emailed and I said, hey, just wanted to check. Hello, Lock Maiden. How's it going? Yes, get some rest. I hope you're doing well. So I checked. And so I emailed them and I was like, hey, not sure if maybe it just doesn't show on the receipt thing, or maybe it's being shipped separately. But I was like, my order doesn't show the free gift that I was supposed to get. It just shows the 3 things or whatever. So then today when I checked my email, I had a thing that said, phase it, order confirmed. And I go into the order and there's like a thing of the freckles, and then it's marked down to 0. And then after that, sometime there's a customer service email that's like, oh yeah, it's just that the freckles are shipping separately, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girl, y'all forgot. Y'all forgot. You're lying to me. And then, like I said, I don't know for sure, but I thought it was supposed to be like one of these 3 specific styles. What they did was they just sent me they just sent me another package of the green witch speckles, which I guess is fine because we know my love of green. And like, I already have the like original green ones. I'm going to have the shamrock ones, and I'll have 2 packages of so I may regift them or I may keep it, but I am more likely to use the green ones. Let's be real. But I was like, they totally just kind of forgot. I'm having issues with like a pre-order on Notoriously Morbid. I am still waiting on some She-Ra shadows that I ordered in August. And they had said like back in October, I had emailed them and they said, well, if you want, we can send out the ones that are done. And I said, sure. Well, then I emailed yesterday and I said, hey, did these ever go out? Because I never got like updated shipping and I haven't received anything. And they're like, we don't know. Hello, Eden. How's it going? Nice to see you. They were like, well, we don't know how this happened. We're really sorry. We're going to send out the ones. She's like, I'll pack them myself today. I'll make sure I throw in some extra goodies, and I'll make sure that when the other ones come in and are ready, then I'll send out some extra goodies or whatever. And the story that I posted yesterday was about Unearthly Cosmetics, because I had a pre-order from them. I had a pre-order that I placed. They were having a Halloween sale in October. And so their palettes are normally like $66, $68. And I had been on a point where I was saying I'm not doing pre-orders anymore from Unearthly because they take too long. They're always delayed. It's a big mess. And so I was like, I love Unearthly. If you've seen, I have 2 Thunderdomes on my channel. I had to break it into 2 because I did one that was just eyeshadow palettes and one that was all the like face palettes and face products. So I even showed off the fact that I still have a palette from when they were Alien Cosmetics before they were Unearthly Cosmetics. So I've been fucking with that brand for a long time, but now they are in this like churn and burn situation of everything is a pre-order, and it drives me crazy. And so I had sworn off doing pre-orders, but they were having this Halloween sale. And the Shadow Sculpt palette has some beautiful greens, and that Gargoyle palette has been calling my name. And so the Shadow Sculpt, which I think is, the prices are approximately right. The prices are right, but like, I can't remember which palette is which, but one of the palettes was $66, and on the Halloween sale, it was down to $25. And the other one was $68, and that went down to $27. So I was like, for basically $25 a piece, of course I'm going to do a pre-order on these 2 palettes that I like, because I don't know if I'm going to catch them in stock. And if I'm going to do a pre-order when they're like 60% off or whatever, like 66, whatever it is. And so I did this pre-order, and I swear I remember it saying November, because I placed this order on October 25th. And I was like, okay, October 25th, even if it's end of November, that's not too bad. Well, I've had on like the 20th of November, I got a shipping notification. They printed a label or whatever. And so I was like, okay, cool. That's fun. These are going to be coming. Still haven't received anything. So I had emailed, and then I got this like chat GPT bullshit response that was basically like, like they're like, we have great news. Your order is in the next stage of shipping. You've got tracking information. Remember that you can check the tracking information to find updates on your package. Have a great day. And I was like, bitch, that's not the problem. Like I told you the problem. The problem is I know I have tracking and I have been checking the tracking. The problem is that the tracking has said pre-shipment since November 20th. So then I emailed back. So I had gotten that response back on Monday. So I emailed on Tuesday. Or no, I emailed on Monday and then got the response back Monday night or Tuesday morning. And so I emailed on Tuesday. I didn't hear anything when I got in on Wednesday. So I emailed again on Wednesday to just like really clearly explain, like, this is what's happening, and haven't gotten a response yet or whatever. So then I was like, okay, I hate that I have to do this, because this is one thing that annoys me so much, is that sometimes, and I get that it's just the way of the world, and I get with indie brands, if things are like small brands, sometimes it's hard with prioritizing or whatever. And I was like, I hate that I live in a world where sometimes I have to like shame people into doing their job, because if you email and don't get a response, but then you put something on Instagram and they're like immediately on it, that's not how the world should work. But I understand that that is sometimes how the world works. So I put up a post and I showed the US, like the tracking, and I had circled where it said like a, pre-shipment as of 11:20. And then I took the screenshot so that I had the bottom, like the little taskbar on my computer, and I circled where it's at 12:10. So like it's been, nearly a month, 3 weeks at least. And so I was like, I said, I tried to email about this. I got this like really, it felt very automated response or whatever. And then I didn't even get a response to that. So finally, like, then I messaged Unearthly Cosmetics and I was like, hey, can you help me get some like actual information and try to figure out what's actually happening? Like, and she was polite, but there was a little bit of an edge, because then she said, we didn't have November pre-orders. I can't prove it. I didn't take screenshots of the website. The order email doesn't say when the pre-order is through. That's always on the website or whatever. And this has now changed because there's been updates. So I can't prove. I also remember though, because then she also we put a story up that said that we accidentally printed some shipping labels before pre-orders were in. And I was like, well, okay, story stamp for 24 hours. That's not how you should be communicating with your customers. You should send them an email or send them an update or something. And so she was polite, but it was like that polite that I've worked customer service for many years. And so I know the customer service voice, like, and it was the email version of the customer service voice of like, we did put up a story. So I was like, well, I don't always see stories, but I do remember seeing a story where people must have been complaining about the time for shipping, because with Unearthly, we're always complaining about the time for shipping because it's always later than they say. But I remember her putting up a story where she said, like, you need to understand that November pre-orders will ship in November, but it just means in November. It doesn't mean you're going to have it in your hands on November 1st. And I remember her putting that story, and she said specifically, like, if you have a November pre-order, it'll ship by the end of November. And then now she's claiming in this chat with me that, like, we didn't have November pre-orders. So which is it? Because I remember that story. And then I did go back and I did see the story. She had posted it like that day or something. And so probably after I posted my thing. And so the thing is that I have been fucking with Unearthly for so long, and I love Unearthly Cosmetics quality. I just hate, and I know that the world is tough, and I know that indie brands are struggling just like the rest of us. And I know that sometimes figuring out how to achieve these projects and goals that you want to have, but this like constant pre-orders, if they're not going to be managed well, then there has to be another way, because I'm so frustrated. And I'm not going to say that I'm not going to order from Unearthly, because I mean, this is not like if I put a brand on pause, like Ensley Rain, she's a transphobe. Fuck her. I don't care. I'm not going to order Ensley Rain. Like that's one that I'm saying like I'm not going to order. And her apology was never like, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to learn and grow from this. Her apology was basically like, oh, that doesn't represent the brand, and I'll make sure that that's not on our brand's socials. So it's basically saying like, I'll have my personal account that nobody knows about, and then I'll still go like the transphobic content and all that shit. But she just was like, I guess I won't do that from the store account anymore. Whoopsies. And I was like, fuck that bitch. Like, done. Ensley Rain, done. Like, I have no problem with that. Unearthly, this isn't that kind of problem. This isn't that sort of issue. This is just the way that they've chosen to like run the business based on financial constraints, based on whatever, is frustrating. And I think it's absolutely legitimate to air those frustrations. And I think, and she did just post something about how they were bringing back their affiliate program, and because they had paused their affiliate program for a while. And she had this kind of post again, it read a little bit like that customer service voice of like this period has been difficult, and it shows you who shows up for you and who are the haters and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, number one, if you stop sending PR and stop having affiliate codes for influencers and they stop talking about your brand, that's not hating on you. That's absolutely not hating on you. People who do this as their job, if they want to not talk about brands that they don't have affiliate codes or ways to make money with, I think that's legitimate. Now, is that something that is kind of in my head when I think about who to like I trust for advice and things like that? Yeah, somewhat. But I think it's, there's only so much time, there's only so much content you can make. And so if you're going to prioritize, because even me, I'm not monetized, but I also know like when I post a look and tag the brand and all that stuff, I know which brands comment, I know which brands like, I know which brands will repost me on their stories. And that's not payment per se, right? Like I'm working for free, but they're showing appreciation. Have I started doing more looks with the brands that do that? Absolutely, I have. Have I like maybe not done as many looks with some brands that like I do looks and it's crickets? I don't even get a like. Forget a repost, forget a like whatever, a comment. Some brands will send like personal, like if I put it in the stories, like they'll reply to the story in my messages and be like, oh my God, this is beautiful, blah, blah. Like to me, it's like, it's just the appreciation. And so I know which brands do that and which brands don't. And I certainly have started doing more content. It's not that I'm like, nothing that I'm saying is untruthful. Like, it's not like I'm saying, oh, this brand is better when it's trash. No, I have a lot of brands that I like, but I can only make so much content. And so I prioritize the ones that show me appreciation back. And like in terms of this thing with Unearthly, where they finally posted, because if she was claiming that my order was in the orders that like they accidentally printed shipping labels for, that was done back in November. That happened November 20th. So why are you just posting a story now? Because I complained about it? Or maybe somebody else complained about it with a bigger following? I like that's the kind of thing, because like on the flip side, because I know it can be done better, because if you look at Blend Money Cosmetics, they've also been talking about the fact that they've had some issues with UPS shipping where packages have been really slow to move through the system. Tracking's not getting updated. She's putting updates for problems I didn't even know I had, right? Like she's putting an update and saying, we just want to be transparent. We understand that there's an issue with some packages being delayed through USPS. We're working with our local office. We're doing what we can to track it down. She's putting them on the stories. I know I kind of like burned Unearthly a little bit for saying it was in the story or whatever, but like she's putting in the stories and she's doing like regular updates and she's just being very transparent. There's a way to do it better that I feel like Unearthly is just not doing. And so it's not that I hate Unearthly. It's not that I'm trying to hate on them. I want them to be successful because some of the Unearthly palettes are some of my favorites in my collection. And they're not afraid to do a green shadow. Of course I love Unearthly. Like they put a green in everything. So I love Unearthly. I love the quality. I love the products. I just want it to be a good experience. Like I don't want to have these kind of frustrations. And I do have to say that, like, not only I was talking about the affiliate program and how some people, like, when they got dropped off the affiliates, they maybe weren't talking about it as much. And I think that's legit. I also don't see a lot of smaller creators that are maybe like pre-monetization. I don't hear them talking about Unearthly anymore. And I know absolutely why, because I know it's why I don't talk about Unearthly on my channel very much, is because with all this pre-order bullshit, like they still send the PR out to the PR people, and they send it out when the pre-order is going to open. So all these videos get made from the people who get PR. And then if you're a creator who's trying to create something and you don't get PR, well, then you place the order and then you're waiting a month, 2 months, 3 months. By the time that palette arrives 3 months later, who fucking cares? Nobody. Like, it's impossible to talk about. So like, I don't see people talking about Unearthly Cosmetics. And I understand that it's people who are like, I get that that's not a scientific thing. Like, if you look around, you're like, my 3 friends aren't doing it. So clearly that's a lie. It's not happening in society. Clearly there's probably people out there talking about Unearthly, but non-PR videos, I can't tell you the last time I saw somebody doing a non-PR video about Unearthly Cosmetics, because I just don't see it in the people that I watch, and I have to tell you, if you watched your YouTube wrap up, and I watched a lot of different kinds of YouTube, but I apparently watched this past year, whatever they count for that YouTube wrap up, I watched 1,522 YouTube channels. Like that doesn't mean I watched a lot of videos from all those channels or whatever, but I watched a lot of different channels. And like a lot of that was beauty. And I didn't see Unearthly getting talked about. And I think it's because if you're not on the PR list, you're going to get it. I mean, you're going to get a Halloween collection in February. It's like, that's the kind of shit we're talking about, is that they'll launch it. And so if you're going to do a pre-order, and if you're going to take this long, then I think maybe try to launch it earlier, because I would rather the disconnect of like you trying to sell a Valentine's collection at Christmas, but then it arrives at Valentine's Day, because then it's relevant. Even if I've waited 2 months, if I can make a video about a collection that's around Valentine's Day and I can release it around Valentine's Day, that to me makes more sense than a pre-order opens on Valentine's and I've got it in June. And now I'm trying to talk about this Valentine's collection that everybody saw all the PR videos. They saw all of that when it came out in February. Valentine's Day was in February. Now I'm in June and I'm like, here's the like Happy Hearts Love Club palette. And it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is the point? What is the point? And so that's why as much as I love Unearthly Cosmetics, they're making it hard to love them right now. And I wish it would get better, and I hope it gets better, because I think that their formulas are some of the best. I think their shimmers are absolutely beautiful. And I think they actually do really, really good mattes too. That's the other thing, is that there's a lot of these indie brands that they've really put so much thought and effort, because shimmers are the boom boom pow, right? Like they're the ones that sell it, right? The mattes do the work, they build the structure or whatever, and then you put the shimmers on and they're the star of the show. And so I think Unearthly, what's impressive about them is not only do they have these really beautiful shimmers, they have really, really pretty, really easy to work with, beautiful blendable mattes. And so when both the mattes and the shimmers are that fantastic, that's a brand that I just love. So I hate that I have to like be critical of it, but I just am in this like frustrated loop right now with them, where I was not going to do any pre-orders, and then I did, and then it's immediately garbage all over again. And I'm just like, why is this happening? So those are my first world problems. And we talked about DeDe Signature. DeDe Signature, damn it. I keep doing that wrong. Sorry. DeDe Signature. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. I got to get back to work. This was a fun little lunch break live, but now I got to make the donuts or whatever. And so, yeah, I'm going to get back to work. I hope everybody's having a lovely day. Don't forget, Replay Crew, you rock, or circle around and leave a little comment down below to tell me what you thought of the video, what you thought of my little DeDe Signature haul. And while you're down there, don't forget to give me that thumbs up. And if you are just like, I'm an Unearthly stan and I can't believe you said anything negative about them, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch. and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified every time I do an upload. I try to have at least one video or live a week, and sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Oh, unlikely riffing. I've been so slow. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website where you can order your calendars. Single digits left. I say single digits because I don't remember exactly how many, but it's under 10. So just pretend it's there. The World of Champagne at JanessaJ.com. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. I love and appreciate all of you. And until I see you again, bye. Bye, Mama Champagne. Bye.